Welcome. You are tuned into another segment of Conversations in the Nick of Time. I am your host, who's just honored to be here, Nikki Roach. And here on Conversations in the Nick of Time, we are all about leadership excellence, accidents, and equity. And in those buckets, we find so many different things that we don't have to literally call them out. But in most cases, when it comes to life, they do fall in those buckets, but we know that you can't have one without the other to arrive at success as you define it. But it's a matter of you defining and understanding what that is for yourself and everything that is surrounding you. We're talking about success, talking about excellence, accidents, equity. OMG, our topic today could not come at a better time when many of us are coming out of pandemic matters, even though they're still very much real and still very much in our face in regards to making sure we handle our business. It is not gone. But with that, we have realized there are some things that have been uncovered that has caused us to understand we're not taking as good as health of ourselves as we should be. There is something that has become a multi-billion-dollar industry, which is supplements and vitamins and the whole industry of health and wellness and fitness that has just overtaken us. Some of us are taking advantage of it for a number of reasons, and others of us are just kind of like, if you like me, eating that scoop of ice cream with those Vienna fingers. And you realize, oh my gosh, I'm getting up in age, but it really is not about age, but it's also about race. It's about gender. It's about natural stresses, because we're going to have them. And all these different things that are influencing and impacting us. And I am in that space personally. So this topic today that we're going to be talking about when we are talking about our health, again, there's so many things we could cover, but vitamin D. How many of you even know what that is? And it's often called the sunshine vitamin. Mm-hmm. And so the sunshine vitamin, I have been introduced to it as of last year by surprise. And so I know I am not the only one. So we found, thanks to Angela Lewis for her graciousness and identifying someone who is an expert in this area. And she goes by the name of Robin Allen. And Robin Allen is out in California doing so many amazing things. And Robin Allen is a mother, a nutritionist, an entrepreneur, and founder and CEO of Necessary Nutrition, Inc. And the creator, yes, I said creator, of the Necessary Nutrition brand of vitamin D3. Robin is an in-demand presenter, conducting workshops, classes, and seminars on the Necessary Nutrition formula to wellness, nutrition for your spirit, and the biggest nutrition mistakes most people make and how to avoid them. She has committed to this change when she personally went through her journey and was introduced to this whole idea of health and wellness, and it ignited something within Robin to learn as much as she could. But then when she learned, there was a pivot and a shift to educate those around her. And since then, she has become a certified nutritionist and created the brand of supplements such as vitamin D. And then there's also a vitamin D plus K2, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Which I think we all need a little bit of all of this. And she has received her bachelor's degree from the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, master's degree from the University of Redlands, and additional nutrition certification from the Global College of Natural Medicine. She's been on a host of networks, just to name a few, CNN, and the list goes, I could go on and on. But she is here with us today to share a little bit about what the hype is, but also why we don't hear enough in the right places about these shenanigans around vitamin D.
Yeah.
How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate the opportunity to share what we don't share a lot about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and set us up and frame this a little bit before you just
Mhm.
dive in.
Okay.
According to clevelandclinic.org,
Mm-hmm.
vitamin D deficiency is a common global issue.
Mm-hmm.
About 1 billion people worldwide have vitamin D deficiency,
Yes.
while 50% of the population has vitamin D insufficiency.
Correct.
So approximately 35% of adults in the United States
Yeah.
has vitamin D deficiency. So
Correct.
35% of all in the United States.
Yes. And if you have darker skin, then that nearly doubles. So if we have the melanin, then we are more likely to be deficient. And we don't even know about it. And I would say that because people are saying, why are you focusing on vitamin D? It's critical to human health, and it can solve and rectify and mitigate so many other challenges and problems that we have, and it goes untalked about. A lot of times, let me just say this, when the pandemic hit, that's when we knew that folks had less severe. Now remember, Black folk are more likely to be, or people of color, more likely to be deficient, and then the overall population. So when we looked at and research showed what was happening with the pandemic and folks' ability to heal and fight it off, then there was that correlation. It's an easy deficiency to have, but it's also an easy deficiency not to have. It's an easy deficiency not to have. It also, think about, well, I'll say there's a lot of money to be made in the wellness industry, and it's always being marketed to us. Take this, do that, do this. And also the pharmaceutical industry. So there's more money being made off of illness.
Yeah.
So if you were to have vitamin D, which comes from the sun, if you were to have it and it helped you mitigate all of these other things that you go to the hospital for, go to the doctor for, get a prescription for, that may cut down on some of these challenges and issues that line a lot of pockets for others. So I started focusing on vitamin D because I know that it's effective, and a lot of people don't know that. And it's cost effective. And I'm like, people have to know about this. It comes from the sun. Okay. So it's in the sun. When the sun rays hits our skin, then our body naturally produces vitamin D, naturally. When our skin is darker, it doesn't do it as efficient, right? And then in food, you can get it from egg yolks. There's food that's fortified with it, cereals, orange juice. You can get it from mushrooms, also fatty fish. Most of the time, we're not out in the sun.
Right.
And especially during the pandemic, we weren't out in the sun. So that's a challenge. And then our food, we're not consuming the foods often enough. So then supplementation is an easy way to do that. When your vitamin D levels are up to par, and we'll talk about what up to par is, because there's some confusion on what that is. But as I said, it's critical to human health. It's critical to your cellular health. It's critical to your mood. It helps with depression, bones, heart, your gut, your immune system. It helps all of these systems work better when it comes to insulin resistance. So with our blood sugar and diabetes. So like I said, so critical and so simple. And if we but knew, then we could get our vitamin D levels up to par, make that assessment, and see where that goes. So that is my passion, is to educate so that we understand. And there's so much that goes into this. I think we talked about it. I hope it's okay that we say that you received a prescription.
I did a year
Right.
ago, but had no clue.
No clue. And if you receive a prescription, then that means your levels were very, very low. oftentimes, and hopefully this is changing, when we get our blood work drawn, vitamin D may not even be on the list.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to request it. Now, remember, I said it's critical to human health. So if it's critical to human health, why then would we not be tested for it
On a regular, right?
and know about it?
Right.
So then when your level is low, then you're offered a prescription to do mega dosing to get your levels back up. Now, vitamin D, it comes from the sun. So in order for a prescription to be given, you can't give a prescription for something that is, so a prescription is a pharmaceutical. So that means that it is made in a lab. Okay, when you get a prescription, it's made in a lab to mimic what the vitamin D does. So you're most likely getting D2.
So something that's natural is now being compromised.
It's changed into a pharmaceutical because it's medical grade. So a pharmaceutical, they're in the lab making things, and pharmaceuticals are necessary in certain cases, not necessarily in vitamin D, because remember, it comes from the sun. However, when you're taking it in supplement form, that form is vitamin D3. That is better absorbed and better for the body. D2 is the pharmaceutical grade. D3 you can get over the counter, right? And it's better, but they cannot write a prescription for something that you can get over the counter. So they have a prescription, they have a pharmaceutical grade form, vitamin D2, which is not as effective as D3 that you can get over the counter. So there's money made there when they write a prescription.
What? Pump the brakes. Wait a minute. So we don't necessarily even have to get the script written.
No,
that's not even going to be as potent or as comparable as that which we can buy ourselves, which is 3, which is a higher, or just go outside and be in the sun some more.
Go outside and be in the sun some more. However, a lot of times, again, if you have the melanated skin, it doesn't get in as fast. And then vitamin D, it stores, but it also goes away, right? So it's not like you go out and you get it and then it's there forever. You have to keep it, you need it all the time.
Gotcha.
But yes, with the prescription, you don't need the prescription. But a lot of times, and there is a place, I want to say this, there is absolutely a place for Western medicine, absolutely. If you get an infection, please don't try to eat some broccoli. Go get you some antibiotics or something, right? But I like to use food as medicine. Food and nutrition, or lack thereof. So food will either kill you or keep you alive. I just want people to know what they can do themselves to help their body do what it wants to do naturally before you have to get a prescription. Because the more chemicals we have in our bodies, the more chemical reactions can happen in our bodies. So the more natural, the better. So when we're very, very low and the doctors notice that, because remember, it's critical to human health, they give you a prescription and then you say, okay, I have a prescription. So this must be serious. Now that I know, how did I get here? Why didn't I even know before? Right. Also, you're mega dosing. So if you get a prescription, it's giving you high levels of vitamin D to bring your levels up because they must have been so low. Right. So I like to say, just take daily for maintenance, and then it'll stay, your reserves or your levels will stay optimal. You want your levels. So this is what I want people to understand. You go to the doctor, you run your levels, you may come up at 25, 30 range. I'm giving you the numbers because these are the numbers that come out. And then they might say, okay, that's fine. So if you're at 19, that's really deficient. But if you're in the 30s, they might say, okay, you're okay. You want your levels between 60 and 80 because and it's high. So my levels right now are in the high 60s because we know that is when your body is maximally supported against autoimmunes and cancers and all of those things that we don't want.
Yeah.
That we don't want. Our body is maximally supported. The higher, the better. You don't want to really go too far over 80, and you won't by taking regular doses just every day. But the challenge is a lot of people don't know the importance because it's not talked about as enough. Even when it came to the pandemic, the push was not health, vitamin D, and the things that we can do. There was another push. The world was saying, go do these things, and never really talked about some of the other things that we could do. Mm-hmm. And we should do continuously from this point on. Those that are listening, now that you know,
Right. And then I also, speaking of now that we know, just to reiterate, causes of vitamin D deficiency. We don't consume, we're not taking in enough sun, but that sun is not going to penetrate those of us with melanin. And the darker that melanin, our skin, the least or the lesser the amount is that we're absorbing.
Which is not as efficient as, so the rays get into our skin, we naturally produce it, right? Okay. So then our skin is darker. It doesn't do it as efficiently. It doesn't say it doesn't do it. It just, that melanin is that protected.
So so our exposure to sunlight is limited. Mm-hmm. Our kidneys sometimes cannot convert this vitamin D to an active form. Our digestive tract sometimes is a cause. Obesity can be a cause, or overweight.
Yes.
So here's another thing, because this is where it was a surprise to me because of my diet.
Yes, ma'am.
And my diet. So many who have switched over to straight vegan, being mindful that you're not taking in, and I love that you brought up nutrition foods. That means from the earth and from the sea, right? But not too much from the sea because of the omega-3s.
Yeah, so we can even get into that with the omegas. So I recommend omegas, but I recommend it in a plant form. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, I recommend.
Put a pin in that.
Yes,
interesting. But it is some of the foods that are natural sources. You mentioned fish, egg yolks, fortified milk. Is it beef and liver?
So I don't eat beef or liver.
I don't either.
Yeah. So basically, your fatty fish, sardines, cod liver oil, tuna. I don't know. Yeah. Egg yolks, mushrooms, and then it's fortified in milks and cereals and orange juices. So food, I love talking about food. So I would say this, I am a nutritionist. And for years, it's been 14 years, I would work with clients directly with creating a plan for them. Okay. I've retired from that space because I did it for so long, but I really wanted to know, how can I be most effective? Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of nutrition coaches. There are a lot of nutritionists. I want people to understand. I want to just be able to educate, right? I want to be able to educate. And I like to talk about functional foods. And functional foods are foods that they serve a purpose. When you eat them, they do something for you in your body. I want to define what nutrition is. Let's talk about what nutrition is. Because we think because we ate something, we had nutrition. Not so fast, right? Not necessarily the case.
Okay.
Nutrition, when you eat something, the body wants to take out the vitamins and the minerals from that food and then put it in your body and your cells and help you build, grow, and repair. That's what your body wants to take what you ate, take the nutrients out and use it. But not all foods that we eat are nutrient dense. So we eat some foods, yummy to the tummy nonetheless, but may not have the nutrients in it that our body needs. So again, we may have enjoyed ourselves. We may have enjoyed the meal, but did our body get what it needed? And so with nutrition, that's important. And when I say functional food, that is functional food. When you're eating the foods that your bodies can use for building, growing, and repair.
What, for example, give us a couple.
So highly important, highly important is, and it's never going to go out of style. It's well known. It's talked about, fruits and vegetables, right?
Yes.
But let's break this down. Let's say this. So fruits are easy because everybody loves fruits, right? So I like to focus on vegetables. I don't want to ignore fruits, but if I say eat more fruits and vegetables, people will eat more fruit. And
Okay.
fruit is good. Fruit is good. Highly nutrient dense, but also depending could change your blood sugar, perhaps. So I want to say
Too much because of the natural sugar can sometimes be too much.
correct, right? So I say, let's focus on vegetables. That is your medicine. In the vegetables and the fruit, there are phytonutrients that your body knows what to do with. So our cells have needs in order to behave, in order to do what we want them to do. And so those nutrients inside of the vegetables and fruit go into the cells and do what it's supposed to do. So a lot of people are not eating fruits and vegetables at all. And furthermore, this is what is jarring. It used to be we needed 5 a day. 5 a day. No longer the case for a couple of reasons. So now we need like 7 to 13 servings, which is that's just a lot. It's a lot to do, and it's very difficult for most people to get in. Why we need so much now, hear me when I say, there's a couple of things happening. The actual produce that we get when you go to the store, it's picked before it's ripened. So it's not fully, doesn't have all the nutrients in it. Then it's sitting on it has to be picked before it's ripe so that it can sit in the store and wait for you. So it's the produce itself is less nutrient dense, right? So you need more. You need more of it to compensate because of the way that the soil and all of those things. So
and how because we're also the pesticides, all that different stuff.
All of that. So it's less nutrient dense. That's one thing. And then the environment, and you can't not breathe, right? You have to breathe. And when you do, no matter what, you're going to breathe in chemicals or something. It just happens, right? So our world is more toxic, and then our produce is less nutrient dense. And produce, that's the armor, the nutrients in the produce is the armor for our cells. So there we are. We need more of it. So the functional foods are fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Also, and I'm never wanting to try and make someone vegan or vegetarian. That's not my intent. My intention is to say eat more whole foods from the earth, period. And that is the number one healer. Let food be thy medicine there's the number one.
But it's so interesting you bring that up because there really is a lot of healing healing in the foods that we eat, but our intake, because, we're leaders, regardless of where we are in the world, and no matter what industry we serve or what group of people we serve, we're all moving at such a rapid pace. Pre-pandemic, we were all over the place all the time and not even getting the rest. We weren't, drive through. That's why we have so much that is convenient. Now they'll bring the food, the drive through to you because we don't want to wait. So we're not even moving our bodies anymore. So different ways. And now, we have a lot of people who are doing remote work, hybrid work. And while you are, and I had a season of that, doing the hybrid and then even also remote for a while. And even, this platform, everything shifted to where, no, you don't have to go into the studio. You just create the studio in your house. So now I'm not moving as much.
Correct.
I'm not outside to get the sun. Correct. I am not necessarily at one point, not cooking properly, still getting stuff delivered.
Yeah.
You've got all this stuff, but then I love when you said mega dose, we've got prescriptions that we're trying to super expedite the change in our body. So now that's shifting in the chemical imbalance of those changes. So we've got all that going on.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And so I always like to break it down to some simple steps that we can do for our health, because it really, truly is overwhelming as to what do I do? Where do I start? What is my system? So I came up with 3 things that I say, do these things, and then make the assessment. So let's start with the first one, which is flooding your body with produce, right? I eat fruits and vegetables, and not in a can at all, because people are like, I just had a can of green beans. And frozen is fine because it's actually more nutrient dense when it's frozen. So
frozen is fine, but if it's fresh, should we be going to a farmer's market over?
Yeah. So if you can get to a farmer's market, I actually grow my produce. That's a whole nother story, because I help people grow produce.
Hey,
that's
listen,
a whole, yeah.
Alan, who has time for that? I just told you we busy.
No, listen. Oh my goodness. I do it in a hydroponics, so aeroponics. It waters itself. Yeah. We help people do that because nobody has time. I don't have any more time than anybody else. I want y'all to know. And I am the laziest of, and so when I figured out that I can grow my own produce with ease and I didn't have to water it all the time and I didn't have to dig up soil, then I jumped on that. So I grow my own produce. So first, flooding your body with more produce. And I say more, meaning that if you eat no vegetable, then more would be at this point 1, right? Because a lot of times we're trying to do too much at once. So if you eat 1 vegetable a day, now move it to 2. If you eat 2, move it to 3. Just increase that. So that's step 1, increase your intake of produce. I actually take produce every day, encapsulate it to get more of it in. That we can talk about that another time. But so in the step 1 is to flood your body with more produce. And people want to ask about juicing. And if we have time, we'll talk about that. So number 1, that's step 1, right? Flood your body with more produce, more meaning more than you do today. Number 2 is make sure your vitamin D levels are up to par. And then number 3, this is what I do. Every month, 10 days, and some people might start with 3 days or 4 days. I do 10 days, and my community, we do it for 10 days. For 10 days, we cut back on sugar. We cut back on gluten or the wheats and pastas, and we cut back on dairy. We make sure that we drink enough water so that our urine is clear. We focus on topic. Yeah, we focus on sleep. We exercise. So for we're just 10 days, right? Mm-hmm. We're not saying you shouldn't exercise all the rest of the time, but we're saying for these 10 days, you are pushing pause on some of the things that do not serve you, and you are focusing on functional foods that serve you at the maximum level. 10 days out of every month. I actually fast. I don't necessarily recommend that. So for 3 days, I eat no food. I drink water. But that's, I didn't do that. I continue on to get to that. But I like to say to people to do that for 10 days and then assess. Flood your body with more produce, get your vitamin D levels up, take those 10 days every month and assess. Do that for 4 months. See how you feel. And then there's other steps to that, but I have a protocol. And I give that to folks with, as you know, we create vitamin D, but we don't want to just be a vitamin D supplier. Because I am a nutritionist, I always want to share, as I said, information. So whenever our customers get vitamin D, we give them that blueprint, that checklist, step 1, step 2, step 3, what to do and how to do it. Our intention is really to help people live their best lives through food and nutrition, because as successful people, as leaders, as professionals, if we don't have our health, we can't even do all the things you want to do.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
And going back to those, even the vitamin D, since that's the one thing we kind of pulled out from this larger pie. We're talking about fatigue, catching colds, back pain, bone pain, muscle pain, obesity, cognitive disorder, mood changes such as depression, slow healing, hair loss, intestinal distress, increased insulin resistance, bone loss, cardiovascular health, and erectile dysfunction.
All of that from vitamin D. Imagine that. From something so simple. It blows my mind. it blows my mind that it made me do that too. That's when I was like, I am gonna go on a mission. I am going to go on a mission for, I'm going to educate as many people that I can. And
I love at the beginning how you sounded the alarm, meaning that this is a deficiency that many can have, but a deficiency many don't have to have.
Yeah, it's an easy deficiency to have, and it's an easy deficiency not to have. Easy not to have.
But so these functional foods, are we talking about like the green veggies?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Talking about instead of a baked potato, a russet potato, go with a sweet potato.
So sweet potato has it's more nutrient dense, yes, than a white potato. But everybody needs a white potato every now and then, right? But the sweet potato is more nutrient dense. Another functional food, I love to say this, dark chocolate, y'all. I know. And I say, when I say this, people get really excited. Now, here's the deal with dark chocolate. And we're talking about dark chocolate. So dark chocolate has a lot of minerals in it. And then when our body gets it, so sometimes we're craving things, and you can get that dark chocolate and it can, peacefully calm down some of the cravings that we have. But you want to select that 70% cacao or higher, which makes it really bitter. So it's not like milk chocolate's so flavorful. This is not as flavorful, but it's a functional food. Our body likes it.
So one other thing that you mentioned, and I want to just go there just briefly, this intake of water.
Okay.
And how water, you said, flush our system, our urine should be clear, be.
Except in the morning. So when you go in the morning, your body was doing its work, removing toxins. And so when your first urine comes out, it's taken everything out. And so that one would be the darkest one of the day.
Interesting.
But the rest of the day, it should be clear. They're very faint yellow.
So what do you say, just in your opinion, about things that we add to our water?
Yeah, so water is water, right? When you add, people used to add like Crystal Light or different packets, then you're adding chemicals to it. You really are. I like tea. I like tea.
Huge tea drinker.
So I'm a huge tea drinker, and in the tea, I sweeten it with stevia. Natural. Stevia is natural from a plant.
Anything.
Okay, good. That's even better. So if you have water and you put a tea bag in it, you're still okay, right? But if you have coffee, right? We have coffee, and then we're putting in creamer and sugar and all of that, and they're like, "Well, I had water, I had coffee." No. So water, as clear as you can get it, or green tea, because green tea is again a functional food. So,
wow.
Water. Yeah, green tea is awesome. Green tea is a functional food. Again, throughout the day, you want to make sure that you're giving your body functional food.
Okay.
Every day. What did you give your body that it can use to function? Also, nuts and seeds. So walnuts is another functional food. What's good for the
just natural.
Say that?
Just natural.
Yeah, natural.
Not glazed, not candied.
Yeah, right. I know. Yes, right. Natural. Because I'm like, what do you mean natural? Well, yes, not candied. And the other part is a fourth of a cup. That's the recommendation. A fourth of a cup. Right. Yeah. I mean, you can do, I would say per serving. So sometimes I have a couple of servings of nuts a day because it's good fat. But if you're doing too much, because it's easy to sit and eat a whole thing of nuts. So that's why I say fourth of a cup, because that gives, and that's not much when you measure it. It's not much, but that's the measurement that I recommend. And I'm actually, if it's okay with you, I can give everyone that wants it a guide to what I'm saying that lists the functional foods and lists the foods in the different categories that you can choose from. Because again, my intention is just to be useful and to help folk. it fuels my soul and my spirit when people are better just with the information. I've been, I suppose, blessed with this. And I feel like each one teach one. I did not come out of my mother's womb thinking that I was going to be a nutritionist. Not at all. Not at all. That wasn't even on my radar. But life, life does what it does. And I had an episode, I passed out because I was on the move being professional, and my blood sugar was out of whack. Because I really did think this. Like, I would eat a lot of breads because it was fat free, and I was trying not to be fat, but I was fat. I was trying not to be fat, but I was eating bread. And I had out of whack blood sugar, so I was pre-diabetic. I just had all these things that I had no clue. Mm-hmm. And that's what started my journey. But what really, really did it for me is I had a baby, and I was thinking, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to feed her. I don't know what to do with this baby. So I started figuring out. And then from that, I discovered all of these things that I never knew. And that's when I actually really became a nutritionist. And I said, I am going to share with as many people that I can about this, because, as you said before, and I'm repeating this, it's $1 billion industry, health and wellness, as well as sick care. And some of the solutions are so simple and would cut off somebody else's lining someone else's pocket. So fruits and vegetables, you can't get a patent on that. It comes from the earth. It's not expensive. And doing that mitigates some of the pharmaceuticals that you might have to take. I want that. For as many people that want that, I want that. And that's my intent.
Yeah. And trust me, I'm first in line. I'm sitting here like I'm more quiet and taking it all in, because I'm in that age group to where women, especially women of color, non-Hispanic Black women, especially, are number one for
everything,
dying from preventable diseases.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And that's that, what, 45 to 55 range. We're and it's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. Preventable.
And I'm in that age range as well. Yeah. And I know that my mother, so she was 50 when she started to, I'll say, take heed, and it changed everything for her, everything. And as mothers and wives and friends and sister girls and all of that, we are the caregivers, we are the creators. Being empowered with this information so that we can pass it on to the future generations is just, it's wonderful. And I'll say this, there is no perfection, there is no get there. It's not like this, you can master this and then the cheesecake won't come looking for you. Like, there's no mastery. There's no mastery. It's a continuous work in progress. In fact, I put on my calendar at least once a month a dessert day and a fun food day where I just say, I'm having a good time today. I'm going to get whatever I want. I'm going to enjoy it.
One day a month.
I know everybody's like, one day, I need all, Yeah. So I say to people, if it's 4 days a month, whatever works for you.
We can wing it off, like do half a day a week.
Whatever works for you. Yeah, whatever works for you. I do one dessert day a month and one fun food day. And so my fun food day looks like French fries dipped in buffalo sauce. Yeah. Right. And then my dessert day is something decadent, something rich and creamy. And I don't care about what's in it. I just want to enjoy it. It's unnecessary nutrition. That's what I call it. I just enjoy it. Yeah. And I do that. Yeah.
So we've talked about vitamin D. We've talked about nutrition as a whole. What are some of the biggest nutrition myths or mistakes that are out there that you may want to address?
Yeah, so there's 4 of them. One of them I touched on, which is not understanding what nutrition is. So I'll repeat that. Okay. That nutrition, when you eat something, it has to have nutrients in it. So people believing that just because they ate something, they gave their body nutrition. No. It has to have nutrition in it. So that's one of the mistakes, not understanding and not giving their body nutrition daily, functional foods. Okay. Number 2 is eating a carbohydrate without a protein or a fat. So a carbohydrate being pasta, oatmeal, a cookie, carbs, Cheetos, we said pastas, bread, sandwiches, the stuff we like the most. Eating that carbohydrate without a protein source and or a fat, because the protein and the fat helps to slow down the effects of the carbohydrate. On the
okay, what's on the plate? What does that look like on the plate? What's on the plate?
What's on the plate? So what's on the plate? And actually, I'll say this: the guide that I'll give everybody, if they want it, it'll give you portion size. They'll tell you what's on the plate. So let's just keep it simple.
Okay.
Let's say on the plate you have, we'll say salmon. You have 7 ounces of salmon on there. You have a cup of rice or a cup of sweet potatoes. Let's say sweet potatoes. We like sweet potatoes better. So you have a cup of sweet potatoes, and then you have as much vegetables as you want. So you have your salmon, which is your protein and your fat. You have your carbohydrate, and then you have your broccoli. But let's say that you want some fettuccine Alfredo. You just, a plate of pasta, and you don't have the protein. There's no chicken. There's just pasta. That is oftentimes what people do. Or you might grab a snack, a bag of chips, and not have a protein with it. You might have people do this all the time, oatmeal for breakfast, because oatmeal is cool, but you might have berries, which is a carb, and oatmeal, and that's it. There's no protein with it. There's no walnuts in there. There's no boiled egg with it. So that's oftentimes what people do. And this might sound really crazy, but it is true that if I have a dessert, I'm going to have had a protein source prior to having the dessert. So legitimately, like if I'm about to have some cheese, I mean, I'm just making this so that this is up and now like you can see it. But if I have cheesecake, then prior to the cheesecake, maybe I had a tofu scramble, or maybe I had a chicken breast or something prior to having.
Counteracts.
Yeah.
Counteracts. Number 3.
Number 3 is the 5 people you hang out with, right? You're like, what? The biggest nutrition? Yes. Those 5 people that you hang out with. Why? Because the 5 people that you eat with and you hang out with, those are the people that mirror who you are and what you do. So if you want to shift, right, your nutrition and your health and wellness, you really have to shift or look at who is around you. So one of the biggest nutrition mistakes are who you eat with. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then number 4 being inadequate vitamin D.
Okay.
Yeah, those 4. There are others, but those are the biggest ones that people make.
Wow, this is beyond helpful. And I know part of my facial expressions is because like, oh my God, and here I am thinking, because I switched my diet, I'm doing so great. That helped. But excuse me, pardon me, see where there's some areas that definitely going to have to do a 2-step to the side, meaning step away from some things.
Yeah. Work in progress.
Yes, work in progress. And speaking of work in progress, you have the platform to communicate a word that we can hold on to as we're making these adjustments and shifts.
A word, just one word?
One word that you would tell us to hang on to when it comes to this living better, being more aware, being more educated.
One word. Okay. Consistency. I have a lot of words, but you said one. So I'll give you consistency.
Because that, going back to what I said earlier about having that grace, that consistency, like we're not gonna do what we're supposed to do every day, but have the grace, but be consistent.
And consistent, reasonably consistent. So, and that means people are always like, okay, I'm gonna overhaul my life. I'm gonna have 6 vegetables every day, and you've never had one. No. Consistency means consistently over time, eat 1 vegetable a day because you never had one before. Yeah. So you're doing that consistently. And then you're adding to that. Master what you know you can do. Yeah. And then add to that. Okay. Master what you know you can do. Like I can do 1 vegetable a day. I know I can.
Right.
Master that.
Right.
Master that.
Yeah. So where can people find out more? Because you do actually have a product. Tell us what the product is and then where we can find out more.
Yeah, so I am the creator of the Necessary Nutrition Vitamin D3, and we also have K2. And on our website, it explains I'll tell you this, K2 helps transport the calcium into the bone. So it helps the vitamin D move the calcium into the bones. But my company creates vitamin D. And then we also have some perks for those who get their vitamin D from us, because again, we just don't want to be your supplier. So that's what we have. And where you can find us is NessieNutri.com. My goodness. So if you Google, I can tell you this, if you Google Necessary Nutrition, my company will come up. So that's awesome. That if you Google Necessary Nutrition, we will come up. But I'll spell it. N is in Nancy, E, S is in Sam, S is in Sam, Y, N is in Nancy, UTRI.com, NessieNutri.com, 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 or Google Necessary Nutrition and we'll come up.
Yeah, and Necessary-Nutrition still comes up.
Yes, it does.
There's a few items that are on there, but I'm thinking or hopeful that it'll direct you.
It does. You know, it's well, that's another story in itself. But the name of my company is we own the trademark. It's our company name. But when there's a person holding the Necessary Nutrition URL for the past 20, 15 years hostage, and they want to sell it to us at some astronomical rate. So yeah, that's interesting. But I do want to say this. I mentioned to everybody that if you wanted a sample meal guide with empowering foods and the structure of what you can do to put your meals together, then you can actually simply email us at givemetheplan@gmail.com. We just made it easy. Givemetheplan@gmail.com, and we'll just send it to you. That's that. Give me the plan.
And anything in the subject or in the body?
We just say, give me the plan. I want the plan. And we'll just email it to you. That's it. You know, no questions asked, nothing else for that. You don't have to tell us anything else.
Perfect. So on this, give me the plan, PLAN, @gmail.com. Yep. And on this plan, you're actually going to provide those functional foods.
Yeah. So we're going to give you a list. First of all, we're going to give you some best practices of daily things to do. And one of them is, you know, drinking enough water so your urine is clear, just some of the things that I mentioned. Okay. And then it's going to give you a list of recommended protein, carbohydrates, fats, all of those things. Then it's a menu that I've sketched out so that you can see how to balance and with the portion sizes. And then there's a blank one so that you can fill it in for yourself. Because sometimes people think, you know, eating healthy, they can't enjoy stuff. I love tacos and I eat tacos all the time. And I want people to know.
But now we have to be prepared, because I had no idea about eating a carb, not eat just a carb by itself, but also add a protein and or fat.
Yes, ma'am.
Counteracts and so. What? Who knew that?
Yes. So when you go to, or the listeners, give me the plan @gmail.com, then we'll email that to you, and it'll say that as one of the best practices to make sure that you include a protein source every time you eat. And then it'll list what the protein sources are. And I'll say this, everybody has different dietary, you know, some people are vegan, vegetarian, they don't eat this. We have options. So you can figure out based on you which option makes the most sense. So.
Right, which is a great thing, because we do have diets and it's not just necessarily by choice.
Correct.
Or voluntary. Some of it is involuntary because of other things. But then also being mindful that what works for one person may not work for you. This is not a one size fits all. And I love the fact that number 3 on our mistakes, people you hang with, that one messed me up a little bit, because
that one's hard though, right? I know it's hard. You can't get rid of your family, really. You think,
but I also have friends that are that is our soul connection, which is because we're foodies.
Yes, ma'am. I know. And that's I personally had to change my circle, because let me tell you, I know where our time is running out. When I'm sitting next to somebody who is with some chicken wings and some French fries, and I have my salmon and brown rice, they don't ever ask me to taste my food, but I'm always in their plate.
Can I get a fry?
Yeah, I'm always like, and then I'll get another, so I know that the 5 people that I hang with, do they mirror the person that I want to be? I like to say this all in all, just all in all, like when we're just in life, would be my parting words. Read, watch, and listen to only those things that are truly in alignment with who you want to be. So read, watch, and listen to, and then also eat with people that mirror who you want to be. And that's a challenge, that's a challenge, but it's a reality. Very difficult for you to achieve health goals when you're around others that are doing something different. They'll pull you in faster than you will pull them in.
And it's the same. I mean, we've learned the same thing when it comes to just being a leader or, launching a company. Like what is it? You're the sum of 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. And I always have to look at those 5 people. And sometimes I'm like, okay, wait, number 4, you got to go. number 4 is this. Yeah. So,
or let me put you on a part-time basis.
Yeah. Yes. And we're a work in progress. We always have to shift and grow and give ourselves grace. Yes. Grace. And there's no get there. Especially with health. Once you master, it's like your body's always changing, especially as women.
Yeah.
Get older, our bodies are doing all kinds of food you used to eat the day before. Now is you're bloated. So that's enough. There's so many conversations. There's so many.
No, and I am so grateful that you had the opportunity, to share this platform with your expertise. Obviously, there is some work, and then I love the fact that it's some work that we have to do, but I am most grateful for the simplicity in which you've delivered today, Robin. It has just been phenomenal. Things that we can actually grasp right now to move us forward, to have a longer time of moving forward, I should say.
Yes. Yeah. And I will be sending you a bottle of Necessary Nutrition Vitamin D. So I will be sending you one. Yes, absolutely. we want you to get the best of the best, right? So we will make sure that we get one out.
Between that and a little sunshine, I'll get this together, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It has been a joy. It's been an honor to share, again, this platform with you. Robin Allen, certified nutrition specialist out of California. You can learn more about her at Nessy Nutri, NESSYNUTRI.com. We will have this information posted so that you can get your information. Don't forget, if you want to get the plan, email givemetheplan@gmail.com and just say just that. Give me the plan.
Yep.
I know I'm going to send my email in just a moment. But thanks to each of you in your respective places for giving us your attention for these few moments to join us on this another segment of Conversations in the Nick of Time. Thank you to our sponsors, KSTL Jubilee 690 AM, Sparkman Publications, and Covenant Exchange. Until next time, understand that you already possess everything you need to be successful, but that's success as you define it. So in the meantime, go be great, and we will see you soon.